Alright, I thought I'd share a little project I've been working on, and I've been trying to build my own keyboard, my own synthesizer, and one of the things that I knew that I wanted it to be able to do was to accept a MIDI command, a MIDI signal from, an old or new, MIDI controller. So I've been learning about MIDI and also about microcontrollers. Down in here is a PIC 16F628A, and I have it currently hooked up to a 4x16 LCD display. And what I was finding was, as I was coding to accept the MIDI command and turn it into a control voltage, this is a Roland Juno 1, Alpha Juno 1. Doesn't use active sensing, so it just, it spits out a turn me on, turn me off, very simple kind of MIDI command structure. And I was able to build my code in such a way that it was able to read this thing very robustly. No matter what you did, you could just bang on the keys, it would do running status, it would do everything, and it was working very well. Gate on and off, perfect. And then I plugged in this little guy down here, which is a more modern keyboard. This is a MIDIman Oxygen 8, and kind of everything went to hell. And I do know that this thing uses active sensing, so I was like, okay, well, what's going on? So I needed to be able to read the MIDI, all the MIDI stuff that it's spitting out. And the problem is, I've been using my oscilloscope, and it's very difficult to, this is what your MIDI word looks like. And by the way, since this is probably one of the few places that you'll ever hear this, when your MIDI word comes out, there's your 0 for your on word. This, believe it or not, is your 1 for your, end of the word. And the MIDI word is actually backwards. So for example, this is a note on command. That is your 1001. And then this is channel 0, so it's 0000. So the MIDI word sits in there backwards. I think that probably has something to do with like the way it used to load into shift registers. And also, if you're ever building one of these on your own, I do suggest you save one of the pins on your ports as kind of a MIDI timing blip, so you can make sure that you're reading exactly where the word, or where the bits are being spit out. So anyway, this is just one word, right? And so there are multiple words that come out, in any given command, especially if it's like a running status thing, you're holding down a chord. So I was using MIDI OX on my PC over there, and MIDI OX on this thing was great, and on this thing was absolutely terrible. It couldn't even figure out what it was doing, and I think it has something to do with the active sensing. So, long story short, I built this. I don't know how to program for a PC, but I do know how to program a microcontroller, and so I just simply built this device that will be able to read up to whatever 4x16 is, bytes or words, and then it has sort of two modes. It's got a read mode and a write mode. So in the read mode, the LED will be on, this little LED right there, and then it'll read the word, or it'll read whatever is coming out. It just literally just reads that sort of 8-bit word and stores it in a register, and then you can hit the button, which is right over here, and then it writes everything back out. So let's test it. So I'm going to put it in read mode, so it's going to clear the LCD. This little LED is going to go on, which is kind of hard to see that, but anyway, there it is. And now I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to hit some keys. So let's just hit key 48, key 49. And now let's go over here, turn this off, and you'll see this will come spitting out. And sure enough, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to read this, but so there's, 90, note on, channel 0, key 48, velocity 40, And then, you know, the way this particular unit works is rather than spit out a note off command, it just spits out again, a note on channel 0, note 48, but now is 0 velocity. And then it follows it up with a all notes off command, which is B07B00. So then here's my next note, which was that C sharp, 9049. Remember we were at 48 before, now we're at 49, velocity 40. Again, note on channel 0, or I should say, that's actually channel 1, of course. And now 49, but 0 velocity. And again, it's followed up with that all notes off command. And then I hit the button one more time, and it back into, you know, the read mode where it's accepting whatever it is that you're going to send. So all that was done in assembler. I'm using a Mac, as you can see, using MIDIreader X. Did it in about 400 lines of code, and you know, stole a lot of stuff off the internet, a lot of ideas off the internet, especially you know, the LCD initialization stuff. That's super complicated, and let's just say I owe the people who post things on the internet a great deal of gratitude.